This is Michael Lukes from the Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization, joined here by Hannah Davis, founder and CEO of BANGS Shoes. Hannah, thanks a lot for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Tell us a little bit about BANGS.
Well, BANGS is a social enterprise. It launched in May of 2010, or I guess I conceptualized the launch in May of 2010. And we sell shoes, and each color of shoes represents a different cause and nonprofit. So I run a social enterprise that uses retail to make a positive difference around the world.
And have you always been entrepreneurial?
I would have to say no. If you had told me even in college that I would be running a business, I probably would have laughed. I have a political science degree and a minor in Mandarin, which has almost really nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. But I know my passion really resides in the possibility to make a positive difference, and my path has kind of led me to use a business plan in that capacity, but I definitely wouldn't say that I've always been entrepreneurial. It's kind of something that's been a result of following my individual passion.
What all had to happen to make BANGS a reality?
Well, there are a lot of things. First, I went to China and I conceptualized the idea behind BANGS through the inspiration of an olive green army shoe that I saw while I was over there. And it wasn't a fashion shoe. It was a working class shoe that I thought was really funky. And so the first big obstacle was to figure out how to mass manufacture that shoe and then import it into the United States, which was the most difficult thing that I would have never thought it would take all of the hoops that I had to jump through to get that done. But like an incredible learning experience. I learned so much about the way systems work internationally, making how products are made, how they're sold. I mean, the process is just really kind of overwhelming that I grew to learn through trial and error. So the first big obstacle was to get shoes made, and so that had to happen. And then we also had to find our nonprofit partners that work with each color of shoe. And that was a really big obstacle because the biggest part of the BANGS mission is to partner with organizations that focus on sustainable development. And so when you think about how many amazing causes there are all around the world, and we have at this point 6 colors of shoes. So how do you pick 6 organizations out of all of the amazing ones that work internationally? And so first step, get shoes made. Took 2 years, but we can check that box. And then second box, how do you find these amazing nonprofits that fit with the BANGS mission? And after so much research, and we ended up finding our partners through a lot of conversations, just word of mouth, recommendations from friends of friends. And, that was a huge obstacle, but we are so lucky, and all of our nonprofit partners are linked through our website, and they're all just amazing people doing amazing things with great hearts and, very efficient, effective methods that focus on sustainability. And then the third big thing that has had to happen that I'm actually still working on, and it's not something that I would say is checked yet, is how do you engage with consumers? So at the end of the day, BANGS can't be a successful humanitarian aid to anybody unless we're selling shoes. And how do you connect to consumers in a fast way, competing with all these other amazing brands that are already on the market? So a lot of stuff had to happen to get where we are now, but I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say I'm sitting back and relaxing at this point. There's still so much work to be done, and at this point we've gotten so far, and I feel really lucky to be at the place that we're in, but BANGS is still a work in progress, and I feel grateful to be able to talk about it to you and whoever's listening right now. So.
Great. Now, if BANGS wouldn't have happened for one reason or another, what do you think you'd be doing now instead of working on the company?
Well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? Because I don't know if I would be here if I didn't think BANGS was going to work. So I try not to even think about that. I don't know if BANGS wasn't, if I hadn't conceptualized the idea for BANGS and then been crazy enough to pursue it, I took the LSAT when I was in school, and I thought I'd want to do some kind of lobby work. But I guess I know that in some capacity I'll always work. I'll be connected to the nonprofit community in some capacity. So however that would play out, if it wasn't through the growth of Bangs or the development of a social enterprise, I assume that my career path would have led me down some other way that has a direct connection to some humanitarian aid or development.
Now, you persevered through a lot of tough times as you worked to get Bangs Shoes off of the ground over a couple of years. My question is, how can a young entrepreneur know if they should keep sticking with their business idea and dream or change their focus to a new business idea or job?
I think that if you're even considering not doing it, of course there's doubt, but I would, that's it. If you don't believe in it, then nobody else is going to either. You have to be your biggest cheerleader and your biggest supporter. And of course, there's times of doubt. You're like, what am I doing? I'm crazy. This is never going to work. But you have to forget that, because if you aren't 100% all the time, at least when you're talking to other people, whatever you do by yourself, that's one thing. But I would say to people who are at that crossroads, having confidence in yourself and your own idea is going to be the make or the break. Because if you believe it's going to happen, and if you want it to happen, and you know it's going to happen, and you believe with everything in you that this idea is going to make other people's lives better and it's a worthwhile pursuit, then it's not a question. You just do it.
Now with Bangs, you manage a lot of different aspects of business, including importing and exporting, clothing design, branding, marketing, and a lot more. How are you able to balance all of the aspects of the business?
With a lot and lots of help. I don't do it alone. I'm really, really blessed and lucky to be working with my team. I have my business partner, George, plays a huge role in helping stay focused. He does a great job of, we talk back and forth about goals for the week, and he's really great. I tend to be a lot more focused on detail and get caught up in the nitty-gritties, but I'm lucky to have a partner that has a better high level view, so we balance each other out. And then Mandy, our COO, does a really great job of executing our goals for the week and also helping me stay on track. So balancing all the aspects of the business is not easy. It's also one of my biggest struggles, because you're right. It's with a startup. How do you know what to focus on that week? Because most companies that are more developed than Bangs have entire departments that do product development, entire departments that do shipping logistics, entire departments that do HR. And for Bangs, it's run by 3 people every single day. So the balancing act is something that I'm still trying to figure out. But right now, I'm able to do it through help of the Bangs team, and we wouldn't be where we are if we didn't have the 3 of us working at the same pace moving forward.
Now, on behalf of a CEO, I want to thank you for agreeing to speak to entrepreneurial-minded students at the CEO National Conference, October 31st through November 2nd in Chicago. What are you planning on speaking about to the students in attendance?
Well, I think my story will be of particular interest to this audience because I don't have an entrepreneurial background. So everybody here will be in college with the desire to start their own business. And I think it might be very refreshing to people to see, or they'll say, oh, this is possible. You can do it. You don't have to know everything, because I have a political science degree, like I said, and I have no business background. My business background has been the past 3 years of trial and error. So, and no formal business background, let me say that. And so I think, my talk to the students will be, just kind of explaining the big obstacles that I touched on today and how those were overcome, and really just ensuring people that you don't have to know it all, and that as long as you have a plan and it's a strong plan and you have the passion and you have the drive and you're willing to put everything you have into it, I want to be an entrepreneurial cheerleader for them as well. So I'll be sharing a lot of my personal story and tips for how to launch a social enterprise very specifically in today's market.
Great. Why do you feel it's important to support young entrepreneurs?
Well, I think I feel very strongly that young entrepreneurs have a different view of the system that's already in place. So whatever that system may be, whether it's again in importing and exporting, or it's in the technology field, or whatever field it's in, when you come into the workforce, you don't have a sense of the establishment. And I think that that's really important for innovation. And I feel very strongly about supporting young entrepreneurs, not only because I'm a young entrepreneur, but because I believe in looking at things with an open mind, and young people tend to be more open-minded. And that's a very big generalization. I don't mean to offend anybody by that. Any older people with open minds.
And why do you think students and young people in general should participate in events and conferences like the CEO National Conference?
Well, I was so excited to be approached by you, Michael, about potentially speaking at CEO, because I live in Charleston, South Carolina, and there unfortunately isn't a very big community of entrepreneurs in this area. And so events like CEO are so important because you get to feel the real support of your peers. And I think that there's probably a lot of people around the country that have these ideas and they want to talk about them, and they go out and they're trying to engage with people. And unless you're talking to somebody that really gets it, a lot of times the conversation is one-sided and there's not like a bouncing around of an idea. It's more just one person kind of talking at another person, which is never really that much fun. So I think events like CEO provide an environment for people to really engage with other individuals who are passionate and motivated and want to see ideas push forward in new, innovative ways.
Great. Yeah, and we really look forward to having you there as well. I can say from personal experience, my first time at the conference in 2008, I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do. I was an accountant major at the time and really knew nothing about entrepreneurship, even though I had started a couple small websites and done some things that were entrepreneurial, but I didn't know what the word meant or anything like that, and it really opened up my eyes to that, to that focus, and I really knew from that point on that I wanted to be involved in it.
Right. Well, I think that this will probably, that same instance I hope would happen for a lot of other people as well, because you become inspired through events like this.
And through your experience, if you could give one piece of advice to a young entrepreneur, what would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one. If I could give one piece of advice to a young entrepreneur, it would have to be just don't stop. That's the one piece of advice that somebody gave me when I first started out 3 years ago. I'll never forget it. He was a little bit older, and he just started his own company, and it was something as simple as selling sheets. And he just came up with an idea. He was laying in a hotel bed and said, these sheets really aren't that comfortable. And he said, well, let's make comfortable sheets and sell them. And he'd been doing it for maybe 5 years, and he just had gotten his first big account with Disney, all the Disney hotels. And so I was sitting having coffee with him, trying to figure out, how to, launch this idea. And the one piece of advice he gave to me was, Hannah, just don't stop. And I think that that's the best advice I've gotten, and I would love to pass that on to anybody who's listening.
Great. And we're going to end the interview here with just a few fun fact questions, something completely off the board. What's something you collected as a kid?
I had one collection as a kid. I collected salt and pepper shakers.
Oh. Do you still have any of that collection?
Unfortunately, I don't, and I really regret it because, so when I moved out to go to school, my parents had us do like clean out your room thing, and I just got too cool for it, I guess. And now I really regret it because I had so many cool ones. I got these ceramic lawnmower salt and pepper shakers, and I really regret not keeping them. So it's a soft subject. So thanks for bringing it up, Michael.
What's your favorite thing to do to relax?
I'm a big yogi. It might be really cliche, but I love yoga, and it keeps me sane. I think I always joke that it's the only reason I'm able to keep pursuing this is because I have yoga to help me forget for an hour every day.
Who's your favorite musician?
My favorite musician, I love music, but I don't have, I'm really big this is so cheesy, and if my sister hears this, she's going to give me such a hard time, but I love 90s rock. I mean, Third Eye Blind, like anytime I always go to Pandora 90s. I want to listen to Blues Traveler and Bare Naked Ladies and Guster, like I don't really have, and I don't really think I have a favorite musician. I like everything though, so I'm not a huge, I don't like pursue new music. I just listen to whatever Pandora gives me.
Gotcha. And then the last one here, if you could have one entrepreneur in the world join your team at BANGS, who would it be and why?
Oh man. I don't know. That's so tough. And I'm going to be cliche again. I want Steve Jobs.
Okay.
I think for obvious reasons, he just simplified. I tend to overcomplicate things in a way that it is just annoying sometimes, because I'll be thinking and I'll have my paper out at my table and I'm scratching around and I'm talking and I'm bouncing up ideas. I've talked to 15 people over a week about something, and then I'll be like, why are you making this so difficult? Just take all of the clutter away. It doesn't need to be, the solution is staring you in the face. And then I'll come up with something, because I always just go step away, simplify, simplify, simplify. And he was the master of that.
Great. Well, thanks again to Hannah Davis of BANGS Shoes. And I really look forward to seeing you speak at the upcoming CEO National Conference.
Me too. I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you so much. And thanks for listening, everybody.